Suffering got Alabama grace all in the spirit. Yeah. Georgia roots in the soul every time you hear it. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to On the Radar with Rain. There is something happening with traffic enforcement across the country that caught my attention. And honestly, I think it's a conversation worth having. Does every traffic violation really need to result in a police stop? So right now, Denver is asking that question. Police there have already shifted away from initiating certain low-level traffic stops, and now city leaders are considering making some of those restrictions permanent. And now, when I say low level, I'm talking about things like expired registration, certain equipment violations, and other issues that don't necessarily mean somebody's driving dangerously. Um, so now here's what is interesting. Recent reporting shows that after Denver changed its approach, traffic stops dropped significantly. And according to the city data report by Axios, between January 22 and March of 26, approximately 75,600 traffic stops ended without a citation being issued. So that's 75,000 traffic stops, no citations. A stop ending without a ticket does not automatically mean the officer didn't have a legitimate reason to make the stop, though. So sometimes you get a warning. Sometimes an officer investigates something and determines there is nothing there. So I can't sit here and tell you that 75,000 people were stopped for no reason. But that's enough to make us ask some questions as well. I absolutely do believe that police should enforce traffic laws. If somebody is driving drunk, pull them over. If somebody's driving recklessly, pull them over. If somebody's especially flying through a school zone, of course, yes, pull them over. If somebody else is putting somebody else's life in danger, or if your driving's doing that, I don't have a problem with police intervening because that's called public safety. But where I start questioning things is when we're talking about violations that aren't creating an immediate danger, like a broken tail light, an expired registration, certain equipment violations. Do these things need to be addressed? Of course, but does addressing them always require an armed officer standing beside somebody's car on the side of the road? You know, I'm not convinced that it does because we have technology now. Some violations can potentially be handled with mailed notices, automated systems, warnings, or requirements to correct tonight is Monday, y'all. To correct the problem within a certain amount of time. And if doing that means officers have more time to deal with reckless drivers, violent crime, DUIs, and situations where somebody actually needs law enforcement, then I think that's worth exploring. So you can go ahead and run the video. So
talking about low-level stops.
And what they prioritize are not the same thing in Denver.
Putting Chief Thomas's existing policy into ordinance.
Denver Police Chief Ron Thomas implemented a policy in 2024 that limits low-level traffic stops, such as expired registration, a cracked taillight, or improperly displayed plates. Instead, he tells his officers to prioritize safety violations and crime, like speeding, running red lights, and DUIs. City Council is now considering making that policy permanent.
These are minor violations that do not pose a threat to public safety.
City Council member Paul Cashman cited research from a variety of academic and public policy institutes that found low-level stops waste police resources, do little to improve safety, and disproportionately affect drivers of color.
Nationally, the data shows that police are more likely to pull over people of color for these low-level traffic offenses.
Jill Locantori is with the Transportation
Get out the street, Rain.
advocacy group called Denver Streets Partnership. She raised many of the same concerns the proposal aims to address.
We've got a crisis of public trust in government.
The ordinance would also require DPD to give City Council reports detailing the type and reason for traffic stops. City officials said they couldn't determine why tens of thousands of drivers got pulled over.
Thank you for the presentation. And Councilman, as you know, I don't support this.
Councilmember Kevin Flynn says this is one of the reasons why he's opposed to it.
Because we don't have the data. And without the data, we shouldn't be putting this into the code. People are crying out for more traffic enforcement, not less.
Jill says with this proposal, public safety is the priority.
We need to be asking, how do we spend our public taxpayer dollars in a way that's going to actually increase public safety? And pulling people over for cracked taillights is not it.
City Council.
So what you got for us, Rain?
So what do y'all think about this? Having, my thing is, we got all these, if I let my
for these
tag expire, right? If I let my tag expire and I don't go come get it within, or I don't renew it within like a 10-day grace period or whatever the grace period is before they start putting like late fees on it, send me a citation in the mail. That'll light a fire from me. Why are you pulling me? Why are you pulling me over?
Because you're white, Rain. That's why it lights a fire under you. You could send us a ticket and a fine in the mail for 385 days.
And they gonna be paid.
Now that we don't want to pay it. But
no, I think like simple offenses like the cracked tail light or and even safety issues, of course, running a stop sign, running a red light, things like that, or reckless driving, DUI, stuff like that. Yes, absolutely, by all means, pull them over. But
I ain't paying for that. No, I want see everything that our tax dollars go for.
mm-hmm.
I want to sit in the room and say, no, I don't want to pay for that. Okay, we're gonna take you off the list. Uncle Plug, we're gonna take you off the list. All right, cool. Until I agree with what my tax dollars is going, I ain't paying for that.
But I think also he's a perfect example of what happens when we start getting into the rooms, right? Because this police chief is a black police chief in one of the most whitest cities out there. We all know about Denver, Colorado now because of Coach Prime. So we know that the majority of the people there are white. But now you have a black man who's noticing that his people are being affected by his police officers, and he's trying to make change. You got to get more of that. And I'm not saying every black person you put into a spot is going to be legit, because we got some crooked ones too, just like we got crooked white folks. But at the same time, the more of us that can get into these powerful seats, because I remember, I forgot, somebody asked me about when we had the question posed about what should we do, and I always told people that's what I did in the military. I made rank, I moved up so I could be somebody who can make decisions. That's what life is about. Plug is his own boss because he can now make his own decisions. And you know what else he can do because he can make his own decision? He could bring another person underneath him now, if he wanted to, if he chooses to. And that's the reason why we need to become power players. We aren't power players. Like we depend on all our athletes and these millionaires. We need normal day-to-day average Americans who truly care about what's going on in their community every day into powerful positions.
And that's when I was talking about the wealth. When you talk about the wealth and the wealth gap, when you have money equals time, time equals money. And that's just the way things go. And if you have people who are doing right by their money, investing their money, the more people we have doing that who are in a position who makes enough money to do these things, not the ones who are not in a position to do these things, the ones that are in a position. It's just like, I'm looking at life like now. Remember back when COVID first started and everybody was doing all these susu boards, all these little susu groups, where they was taking, you put in 100, you put in 100, you put in 100. Now you go get two people and you put in 100, and then boom, this person get paid out. Then with that money you got paid out, you got to put money back in and bring someone else in and keep that going. We need to do that in real life. to help everybody get to where they need to be. If you know that they don't have enough money to do it, then invest for them. Get them to a position, and then when they get in a position, give your money back. And then so you take that money, don't pocket it, go help another one. And then when they're in the position, go help another one. Because that's the only way that we're going to create the time to be able to be in the position to go into these rooms that they're having these meetings on Tuesday when you know you have to be at work. They're circling us. And we need to get in a position, a financial position, in order to free up that time in order to do these things. It's sacrifice. We need a tribe. I mean, a tribe can start with just 3 and just build into 6, 9, 12, 15. Man. I want this so bad. I want it so bad. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of what the government doing. You know, I'm sick of what's happening to us.
Yeah,
because they taking us up through that.
I definitely agree. Great segment, Rain. Great segment.
And that's
I'm
what's
sorry,
on the record, y'all. What you say sorry for, bud?
I said I'm sorry, baby. I ain't mean to take your one. What's the name?
No. That's what we're here for. So that's what's on the radar. Do we need all these traffic stops? If y'all are catching this on the rewatch, make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe, and leave your thoughts down in the comment section. I am Rain, and this is On the Radar.